Welcome, everybody, to episode 8 of Ringside Rewind Podcast. I am your co host, Andre, alongside with my other co host, Matt. Matt, go and say hello to the wonderful people of our podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Ringside Rewind, episode 8.
And boy, do we have a lot to talk about, like per usual, as we are on the road to WrestleMania. But first, we have to hit Elimination Chamber. And there's quite a few things that we have to talk about leading up to the chamber, some of the qualifications that have happened last week, as well as some exclusive news that have just come out in relation to it. And so let's just go straight into it like we always do. First and foremost, the piece of news that I want to talk about first, Matt, is the issue with the watch parties happening in Chicago. Now, last episode, we did talk about the fact that TKO is going to try to restrict watch parties from happening in Vegas. They're going to restrict the hotels, the bars, the main places of business where they would broadcast that, and possibly do like a local blackout. From what I heard, anything within 50 miles, they are going to not stream the event. Now, it seems last minute that they're doing the same thing with Elimination Chamber in order to boost sales, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
To me, that is a terrible idea. That's how you instantly get more people to not follow the product no more. And in my opinion, there are other ways for you to boost the sales, such as I don't know, maybe lowering the ticket prices because they cost an arm and a leg nowadays. But Matt, I want to bring this up to you because as we get closer to WrestleMania, we're going to hit March here next week. We're going to be about a little over a month now till we hit Vegas, and we're there. What are your thoughts and what's your opinion on them restricting the Elimination Chamber for Chicago? This seems very last minute. This wasn't announced. This literally just happened, I think, last night. I saw the news and I instantly sent it to you.
Yes.
Matt, I want to get your voice on this.
Well, Andre, my opinion and voice hasn't changed from last week. I think it sucks with a capital S. I don't think that it's a smart business decision. However, yesterday I was talking to my brother-in-law, and it's funny, this subject came up, and he lives in Las Vegas. And he was telling me that it legally can be done, and they've done it in the past with other sporting events. So there's a way to do it. And I was thinking, well, how do you do it? And he was telling me there's certain things that they put up to block the signal, and that if they violate that blocking, that they could be fined, the restaurant could be fined. So there is legal things behind it, and it has been done before in Las Vegas. So that's shocking. That was a shock to me, number one. And then with the Elimination Chamber next week in Chicago, I just don't understand why TKO would even want to do something like this. People are going to watch the product. Not everybody could afford a $600 ticket. Not everybody could afford sitting ringside at WrestleMania for $42,000, So we saw it on comments on our last episode. People want the parties back. They want that. They want the hanging with their friends and family at restaurants to watch it. And I think that I hope and pray that this does not stay through. I hope it falls apart. We'll find out more next week, right? If they could actually do it in Chicago.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see and people from that area to hear their opinions their perspectives on what is going on. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, a ticket now is no longer the price how it was 10, 15, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
Back then it was affordable. Now it literally is such a luxury, just to even go to a regular show, a regular Monday Night Raw, a regular Friday Night SmackDown. Those costs, one ticket in itself to just sit in the lower 100 section is at least $150. And to me, that's ridiculous. That's way too much money. But yet obviously, TKO, WWE, they're trying to gain as much profit. And I get that obviously as a business, but as a business, I think it's terrible because now you are literally gatekeeping people,
Yep.
And here's the thing. People travel from all sorts of the world, especially for WrestleMania, for example. Vegas is a very popular city, in the United States. A lot of entertainment, a lot of things to do, especially during that week with WrestleMania, right? You've got WrestleCon going on. You've got a whole bunch of indie shows. I know last year they held a TNA show there on that Thursday leading up to that weekend of WrestleMania. It's a lot of stuff going on. The meet and greets, WWE World, people go for that stuff, right? And they want to be a part of that. And part of that is the watch parties. And so to me, it just screams greed. The
Yes.
fact that TKO is doing this, like why are you doing this? Like you're just taking the fun out of the wrestling and you're taking the core fans. You're taking the core fans away, and you're pushing out a terrible image in my opinion. And it doesn't surprise me that people are just saying screw this product, like I'm not watching anymore. Like the fact that you're doing all this is really not that, they're saying it's not that serious. And I agree. I'm with them. I'm like, dude, there's no reason for them to do all of this.
Well, I'm a hardcore wrestling fan. I hope that this does not stand. You're right. It stinks of corporate greed 101. But here's the funny part. You just said sitting in the hundreds, right? That's on the floor. 150, $200 to go to Raw, go to SmackDown, go to a PLE, sitting on the floor. You're at $300-$400. Now times that by 4 or 5 family members. And I was just telling you offline earlier, I remember going to my first WrestleMania, and this was 20 plus years ago, for $60. And I had a great seat in LA for $60 at WrestleMania. I saw Cena win his first title there, WrestleMania 21. $60-$70 is what I paid with the fees sitting on the floor. And now to sit on the floor at WrestleMania, you're at $600-$700. So let's hope that this changes. We'll see more next week at the Chamber, but I just hope it passes. And I hope TKO and WWE listens to their fan base, because the fans are saying, no, we want our watch parties. And no, we do not want to play outrageous pricing to go to your events.
100% agree with you. It just sucks because, like I said, you're taking the core group of people that watch a product, that have watched for years, decades, generations, right? And you're taking that away. You're taking the fun away from all that. And listen, I knew when WWE was acquired by TKO, Vince McMahon sold it over to them. And obviously TKO owns UFC. TKO also owns WWE. We've seen some good things out of it. Don't get me wrong. We've seen now the partnership with TNA, the partnership now with AAA. Now we've seen incorporation of different wrestlers from different companies be a part of WWE and get more exposure because of it. Overall, you're making more money than you ever had before. It's $1 billion product. The fact that you're getting more faces, you have the Netflix deal happening on Raw. They don't need to do this, but they're choosing to do this. And so it pisses me off that we've gotten to a point where now we're going to ban the watch parties now. And here's the thing. This, obviously they've sounds like they've talked about it. They're doing this for Elimination Chamber. They're going to do it for WrestleMania. And we may see it now for the other 2 events that are the main ones. SummerSlam, 3, technically, Survivor Series and Royal Rumble. So, yeah, I hope this doesn't continue. But we shall see.
Let me say one last thing relate to this before we move on, bro. And they're using the word ban the watch parties. I hate that word. It's like telling the fans that they're in trouble. You can't do this. We're banning it. So that's what's pushing people away. And here's the funny thing. When they announced this just 2 weeks ago for WrestleMania, saying they were going to ban watch parties in Vegas, did you notice that ticket prices did not increase? Ticket sales, excuse me. People didn't run out to the box office and buy tickets just because they said there was no watch parties. It's still not sold out, and people are still waiting. So I hope, you and I both know WrestleMania is going to sell out no matter what. Night 1 and night 2 are going to be sold out by 3:30 that afternoon. They're going to be gone. But those other hundreds of thousands of people that are in Vegas, I sure hope they could watch WrestleMania, and I hope they have a hell of a time watching it. So I hope this passes. It sounds like a punishment to us. Let's ban it. That's like what you do when you're trying to hurt somebody. So I hope it passes. We'll know more next week at Elimination Chamber, how they handle it in Chicago. And I just hope it's something we don't have to ever talk about again, because it doesn't happen.
I agree. This is the one time that I really hope they actually listen to the fans. I mean, I know.
Yes, sir.
The thing is, here's the thing: WrestleMania is going to sell out itself. But the fact that you had a meeting, they had a meeting this past week, talk about the low ticket prices, right? And they had a sale, 25% off, discount sale, whatever, and it still didn't sell out. You know what I'm saying? So it's a sign.
Right.
You should, and then you're banning the watch party so you can push more people to get. Here's the thing: that's fine actually, but maybe lower the prices to where they're
Yes.
extremely affordable. Then we'll definitely go. So
Yes.
then you can really sell out the arena. Sorry, the stadium. You'll really sell out the stadium there because you're gonna have every seat packed when you have an affordable price. Oh my gosh, economics 101.
Yeah.
Anyways, we go on about this on and on, but I definitely want to move on. The next piece of news that I want to talk about: what's in the box? Now we've seen this box that first appeared this past Monday. We saw a segment with Adam Pierce alongside with one of the backstage members about do not open until 2/28, which is obviously this upcoming Saturday, aka Elimination Chamber. Matt, there's a lot of speculation on what this could possibly be, and I'm curious to hear what your opinion is. I'm not gonna lie to you. For me, I thought at first this was gonna be some sort of WWE 2K26 promo because I know they've done sort of like stuff like this before for the promotion of the next WWE video game coming out. But there's other speculation that this also might be the return of a superstar or a first time appearance of a wrestler. Matt, what is your take on what this box could possibly contain?
Well, I think it's cool. It's got us all very intrigued on what's in the box. Adam Pierce told the guy, now you take it and ship it back to SmackDown, make it Nick Aldis's problem now. I'll tell you one thing, bro. If it's a person inside that box, I think that is so stupid. Because we're going to go 2 weeks with that person stuck in the box. So I hope it's not a person. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they could do. I mean, Elimination Chamber needs a spark to it, right? The match card is okay, leading us to WrestleMania, but it's nothing compared to last year's where we had the final boss wanting Cody's soul and then the John Cena turn, right? So I don't know what's in that box. I've been thinking about that all week. And I've been talking to people that want to talk about it. I just hope it's not a person because I was like, well, that wouldn't make sense. That's unrealistic, right? You're going to have him in there for 2.5 weeks back and forth between Raw and SmackDown. So I hope it's because people were saying, well, Chris Jericho's in the box. What, for 2 weeks? So I hope it's not that. I hope that's not how they make an appearance for Chris Jericho. I think that's something bigger, So I don't know, Andre. You got me stumped. I don't know what's in the box. I mean, last time they've done gimmicks like this before. You said to advertise video games and stuff. The last time I remember it, the gobbledygooker popped out of the egg. So I sure hope it's nothing like that. But I don't know. I'm stumped. I'm looking forward to next Saturday for the Elimination Chamber to see what possibly could come out of this mystery box.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure to see what is inside of it. Like I said, I think it's something promotional with the new 2K video game coming out. It has to be a thing. Like I said, it wouldn't really make any sense if this is an actual person. If you want to go on actual, we want to break the wall and speak on actual realistic terms. Like, why would you keep a person inside of a crate like that? And then
for 2 weeks,
ship it off to SmackDown. Then SmackDown, Nick Aldis had an interaction with it last night. Send it back over to Raw. Like, I don't know. So I think it's something promotional with the video game. But like I said, hopefully it's something good and maybe relates to the storylines and spices things up. So with that being said, let's now move over to what happened this past Monday night on Raw. First set of news that I want to cover was actually a surprise. Javon Evans defeating Gunther and Dominic Mysterio. Last week, we talked about this match and our predictions heading into this match. And we both agree that, it's probably going to be Gunther. And I think a lot of people, I would say maybe 90% of people listen to our podcast and watches WWE on a regular basis and knows exactly what's going on with the storyline, probably thought it was going to be Gunther. But we did get a surprise in Javon Evans. And honestly, I'm not mad at the decision. We saw Javon have a very cool moment of him doing his OG cutter as he met, I think it was Bravo, the blue character from El Grande's faction, but the Los Americanos. But we saw that really cool OG cutter midair, them flying in the middle of the ring, and I think them putting Javon into the chamber, he's going to produce another viral moment. Um, but I'm not going to lie to you, I'm very curious on what they're going to have Gunther do, because I had him going on to Elimination Chamber and honestly probably winning the thing, the whole thing. So, Matt, thoughts on this decision?
Perfect timing on that OG cutter. You have to just, that's pure talent for both him and I believe it was Bravo. Just perfect timing. Just nailed it. It was sweet. I had to like rewind it 2 or 3 times and watch it over because I just thought it was phenomenal. That's going to be a highlight thing. Tons and tons of practice to nail that. So props off to those 2 young men. But you know what? I was shocked. Like you said, we were wrong. I actually thought Gunther was going to, I didn't think it was going to be a squash, but I thought Gunther was going to play and toy around with Dom and Javon. The ending I didn't like. I think I texted you that night and I said, I don't like the ending. The fact that Dragon Phoenix hit him in the head with the ring bell, knocked him out, and that's how they got the 3 count on Dom. So I'm happy for Javon advancing to the chamber. We're going to get a little bit more of him and see more of what he could do on a high stakes PLE that could possibly lead to WrestleMania title shot. I don't think he's winning the chamber, but I think he's going to do some phenomenal stuff inside the chamber. I mean, could you picture an OG cutter off the top of the chamber wall? I mean, I could see something like that. He just did it here in the ring. Why not do it off a cage, right? So it's going to be phenomenal to see him there. Gunther, I don't know what's next for him. I think if they put Gunther and Dragon Lee in a feud, I think that's going to be really boring for the career killer. Maybe something this week. I know I don't want to touch too much on the AJ Styles return, AJ Styles honoring time tomorrow on or Monday on Raw, but maybe that's where it leads because Dragon League and AJ are friends. I don't know. I didn't like the ending. I didn't care for it.
Well said. Like I said, it was a surprise. Surprise that both me and you did not expect. Nonetheless, going to be very interesting to see Javon Evans in the chamber alongside with who's already qualified. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what Gunther has in store. We saw him retire John Cena most recently, right off of the coattails of that and that result. So for him to go from John Cena then to AJ Styles, and then now to Dragon Lee seems a bit backwards in my opinion. Hopefully it's something more stakes, that has meaning towards it. I want to see him in the world title picture. Honestly, I do. A lot of people don't. A lot of people have their own opinions on his style of wrestling and the way that he is in terms of storytelling. But for me personally, I want to see him in the main event. He's a main event star. He's main event quality. I enjoy his character a lot, actually.
I do too.
So I want to see him do something that is going to be well worth his time. Come down to WrestleMania. I'm sure he's going to be in WrestleMania for sure. But like I said, I want it to be something meaningful when it comes down to him and his character.
And Gunther's the perfect heel, Andre. We've said it many times on our show. He's the perfect bad guy. And you know what's funny? He gets booed, but he also gets cheered. So I understand why they didn't want to sacrifice his character by letting him take a pinfall against Dominic or against Javon. So of course, no rules in a triple threat match. And Dragon Lee hits him in the head with the bell, knocks him out, and the other 2 handle their business, right? So I think maybe it's tied into the AJ Styles thing on Raw this Monday, possibly. Or, without getting too far ahead, the Beast. I said a couple weeks ago with Tantalizing Tony, I want to see Brock and Gunther. Now, whether or not that happens in Minneapolis at SummerSlam, where Brock Lesnar's from, or this happens in Vegas, I want to see that match. And I want to see something like that. So maybe it's leading us down that route with Gunther, but it's going to be interesting to see. We just know he's not going to be in the chamber.
Yes. Like I said, we'll see. Hopefully it's something interesting that actually has meaning. I don't want to see Gunther and Dragon Lee. I really don't. And honestly, knowing WWE, they're going to probably try to play off their little rivalry, hopefully up until Elimination Chamber or something like that. But let's put him in something meaningful. I want him to continue that dominance. And like you said, he's a perfect heel. So Moving on to the next bit of news, we had another qualification match, and that was Asuka, Bailey, and Natty. We both had looked at Natty. Again, both got this prediction wrong, but we both looked at Natty going on to the chamber. Asuka ended up tapping out Bailey tapping out to Asuka. And I did not see this coming. Honestly, I didn't see Asuka winning, not gonna lie. But she's on. She's one of the all-time greats when it comes down to WWE female wrestlers. So I see this, obviously, I see the validation in that. Matt, what's your take on this result?
I was shocked too. I actually thought, I was hoping for Natty. We said that last week. And then as the match progressed, I thought maybe Bailey was going to move into that spot. But Asuka, she's the perfect heel right now for that character to go into the chamber. Bianca Belair, we keep saying, is going to be back. As we saw this week, she had surgery on her finger. She will not make the chamber, probably not make WrestleMania. So we got to push Bianca back a little bit, right? So Asuka's just the person to go in there and just tear it up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who wins this chamber. I'm overall, I'm looking, we'll talk about the SmackDown results. And we'll do that here in a second. But right now, my excitement level right now is right here.
Wow. For the whole thing, for the whole show?
So here's let me say one thing real quick. Let me focus my camera here real quick so get this there we go. CM Punk, Roman Reigns. Okay. That's going to be a banger. I cannot wait for that. That's going to be definitely main event. More than likely night 2. But I think 99% is going to be night 2 unless they pivot, and they throw someone out there. But I think that's going to be the main event of WrestleMania, right? The Vision storyline, in my opinion, right now, could the fact that Seth Rollins got injured, and then he got taken out, and then now you have Braun Breaker out, right? It just completely just sucked the life out of that storyline, in my opinion. For me, right? I know for you still like it. For me personally, I'm like, I don't even care. I'm like, really? Because here's the thing. If everything would have gone to plan with Seth Rollins not being injured, Braun Breaker not getting injured, that was going to be something that I was dying to watch. And I knew it was probably going to lead up to Braun Breaker betraying Seth at some point. But had it played out the way that it did, because did he do it because of the fact that, one, Seth Rollins was injured and needs to be sidelined and be written off? Yeah, I get it, right? But now the fact that now you don't have that, you take away Braun Breaker now, and now his WrestleMania 42 appearance is in doubt. It's like, damn, I really want Elimination Chamber to really be that turning point for that road to WrestleMania. We saw it happen last year with the heel turn of John Cena. Oh, we're invested now. Oh my God, we haven't seen this. Look, what's he gonna do? Now, was John Cena heel run a disappointment? Yeah, it was. In my opinion, it was. Let's be real.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping next Saturday provides a spark into the storylines, because right now, besides the CM Punk Roman Reigns match, it's kind of right here for me. I need something to happen Saturday that's really gonna put a push towards that storyline, the Vision storyline, but just overall the event of WrestleMania. And maybe I'm a little biased here, because obviously we had that heel turn happen with John Cena last year, and then the year before, WrestleMania 40. You can't beat that, right? Even WrestleMania 39, in the most recent years, right now, those were events where it was like it was must see TV. Don't get me wrong, WWE all the time is must see TV, but right now it's a little stagnant, it's a little stale. I need put some Tabasco on there, a little Cholula, spice it up. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I have to say. Little side note rant, but
no, your rant is probably what a lot of people are feeling, and I kind of agree with you, though. I'm gonna, like I said, I've been watching for years, and I plan on watching no matter what. But I guess compared to what we saw last year at Elimination Chamber with the John Cena turn and I want your soul, Cody. I need your soul. I mean, that was just great TV. And then you're right, WrestleMania 40, the build with the final boss character that we got to see, and bloodline rules and all that stuff. That was great. So let's hope that next Saturday is the fireworks or the spark that you need to take it from here to here the last 6 weeks going into WrestleMania. Because that's what we have left. Come next Saturday, we're only 6 weeks away, so it's going to go by super quick. And if I'm doing the math right, what's that? 4, 5, 6 Monday Night Raws before WrestleMania after the Chamber, 6 SmackDowns after the Chamber. I mean, that's a lot of storytelling to tell. And then we're officially we're on the road now, but we're officially going to Vegas now. There's no PLEs. There's nothing to stop us before now in Vegas. Storyline with the Vision. Hey, man, that masked man, he attacked Logan Paul on Raw. So now he's taken out all of them. He's cost them all something. He took out Braun Breaker at the Rumble. He cost Bronson Reed a chance at the Chamber. He cost Logan Paul. He took out Austin Theory. So this man has struck 4 times now on all 4 members. So maybe this is something we'll see and it comes to conclusion at the Chamber match. I don't know. But I think a lot of people are feeling your frustration. I'm still just hanging on, enjoying the ride. Now, if the Chamber comes next Saturday and we're like, oh man, are you serious? That's what's within the box? Then maybe I'll shift my gear too.
Listen, TKO, WWE, if you're listening to this right now, you want to boost your ticket sales? Do what you did with last year with Elimination Chamber. Bring in The Rock. I'm telling you right now. Remember, you saw it on Real. Oh, dang, we've got Triple H. Yeah, guys, we've got low ticket sales. Nick Khan's probably at that meeting too. What do we do? Bring in The Rock, man. Bring in The Rock. And here's the thing. You bring in The Rock, you insert him into that Vision storyline. Here's the thing. I know that might suck the life out a little bit with the CM Punk Roman Reigns, but here's the thing. You could easily intertwine some of those storylines together because it would be something, in my opinion, to put him and kind of glue those storylines together. Now you got a main event. You got a main event that's going to be worth watching. And I guarantee you, here's the thing. I know people have their own opinion of The Rock. I don't care. Every time his music hits and that phenomenal entrance that he has, you're on the edge of your seat. He gets it. You've been there. I've been there. Every time his music hits, you get a huge pop. Huge pop. So TKO, WWE, if you're watching this right now, there's your solution right there. I'm giving it to you on a platter for free.
Well, here's the funny part, and not kind of going off what you're saying, bro. You get the goosebumps, right? Like he says. But here's another funny part is with The Rock is they just finished filming Jumanji. And if you remember going back, I'm going to go back about 10, 12 years ago. The Rock and John Cena's storyline was a whole year in the making. Rock Cena 1 was a whole year. He challenged him to Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania and said, let's do this next year. So what if we get Roman and The Rock, finally get Roman and Rock in Saudi for WrestleMania 43, and that storyline starts now. And we finally get to find out who's going to sit at the head of the table. That's the match that everybody wants to see, right?
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing. That was supposed to happen, WrestleMania 39, but there was some conflicting stuff with the Rock schedule and all that. And then we were going to have WrestleMania 40. Everybody was in an uproar because they wanted Cody Rhodes. And that was fair because Cody Rhodes, did he maybe deserve? Sure. Now, I'm a little biased because here's the thing. I would love to see Rock Roman in person, and for it to happen in Saudi, I'm going to be a little mad because more than likely, I'm not going to go to Saudi for a show. But here's the thing. In wrestling, never say never, right? So you never know. But with that being said, you want to boost some of the storyline. You want to inject some more adrenaline into the storylines, and you really want people to watch the show, and you really want people to go out there and buy more tickets. Put somebody in like The Rock. The Rock is going to enhance any storyline that you put him in. It's going to be must-watch TV. And here's the thing. Leading up into next Monday, I know we're going to talk about this later, but we have Brock Lesnar making his return and making an appearance on Monday. Does he get involved in the Chamber? I know we've been teasing Obafemi Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania. But maybe you put Brock Lesnar involved with that Vision storyline. And, obviously Tyson Paul Heyman. Maybe that's the way you do it. Maybe that's where you inject some adrenaline into that storyline. Now that you have two of your main people out, Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins. Here comes Brock Lesnar.
You can't go wrong with that. I mean, I'm on the edge of my seat if that happens. But you know what's funny? Touching on The Rock one final time, him as the final boss character, you're absolutely right, Andre. You could put him in anything because that's what the final boss is. He's the final boss, right? So when you're playing that ultimate heel, that ultimate character, the final boss, he could be anywhere to drive that excitement to the story. And another thing real quick, and now you got my little mind turning here in my head as you're talking, as your rant was going on, brother. my mind was turning. Adam Pearce mentioned something on Raw last week. He said, "Oh, just because they keep calling me on the phone doesn't mean I'm going to change my decision." So they're still telling us that he's talking to somebody on the phone. We don't know who that person is. So it keeps dropping the breadcrumbs. You might be onto something. It might be the final boss, and we may see him at the Elimination Chamber. Maybe the thing that's in the crate has to do with The Rock. I mean, now you got me thinking, oh, wow, I can't wait. Because maybe that crate has everything to do with the final boss.
Here's the thing. We don't know, and we're going to find out Saturday, no matter what. But you want to inject some storyline, you want to inject some adrenaline into the event, and you want to sell more tickets, you got to do something. And like you said, you got to pivot. So what's gonna help that pivot? What's gonna inject some more excitement towards WrestleMania? Because right now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm like, damn, this is what puts it a little bit of a damper. It's like, okay, but I'm keeping my hopes up because we have Elimination Chamber, and that's really where you can start your storylines and really push it for the next 6 weeks leading up to Vegas.
Yes.
So with that being said, let's move on to the next topic. We now have Penta becoming the number one contender to Dominic Mysterio's Intercontinental Championship. Dom at this point, given that he doesn't lose it from here till WrestleMania, he's going to be holding on to it for about a year now. We haven't seen him defend it here a lot recently, but I do hope that leading up to this event, I think there's going to be either Penta at some point wins it. Maybe we see a pivot there. Realistically, though, I think we see the fact that we have the Judgment Day storyline crumbling, and we saw that this past Monday with Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Dominic Mysterio in the ring with CM Punk, Finn Balor holding back the Judgment Day, and then we saw that backstage segment happen with JD McDonough and Finn Balor, and them kind of going at it with the fact that, hey, what are we doing? We could have jumped him right then and there. This is what we do. But Finn say, hey, he's got a point. I got to do this. I got to do this alone. And take note, this is the return of the Prince. I think come Saturday, we see the return of the Prince. We saw him wearing his own shirt. And I don't know if you noticed this, but on the graphic on his Titantron, the Judgment Day logo was there, but then we saw a big old fat F right on top of it. So with that being said, Matt, do we see the crumbling of the Judgment Day come Elimination Chamber?
Yes. 100% yes. I think they get involved in the match. We know that Finn, unfortunately, is not going to win that, but I think that's where the story leads. The Penta and Dom thing, we've seen that in the past. We've already seen Penta challenge Dom for the Intercontinental title and always get screwed somehow. And you're right. Dominic is now coming up here on WrestleMania. It will be 1 year. He won it at WrestleMania last year, which that was a great pop. We were there live and we heard that. They were loving Dirty Dom. And then the following night on Raw, they were cheering him. I mean, Dom went from being the most booed person in the arena to everybody loving Dominic Mysterio. So I don't know when they throw us that match. Do we get to see that on Raw? Or maybe Adam Pearce adds it to the card for Elimination Chamber? I was wrong last week. I said JD McDonough was going to come back at the Chamber. He actually surprised us and made an appearance on Raw. But yes, to answer your question, Judgment Day will no longer be a thing come after the Elimination Chamber.
And I'm excited. I think this is long overdue. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yep.
Like, the Judgment Day storyline has been dragging on. We see them every Monday. And, I think it's time for them to split. The Judgment Day, from what I remember, obviously Edge. And then we saw the reigning of Rhea Ripley and then Damian Priest, the OG members, and then them bringing in new members as it's come along the way. Now, mind you, yes, do I think the Judgment Day has elevated the status and popularity of those wrestlers within that faction? Absolutely. Roxanne Perez coming in, I think it was a perfect addition to her to be a part of it. We've seen the rise of her stardom within the main roster. She was very, very good up down in NXT, and she carried that up in the Judgment Day alongside Raquel. And so for me, I'm excited to see what's to come with all of this. It's long overdue, and I think this is a great thing happening. Great beef to finally be occurring, because I've been wanting to see this for the longest time. With that being said, let's move on to SmackDown. And the first piece of business that I want to take care of, Obafemi and Kit Wilson. Listen, Obafemi is a very dominant character. We saw a squash match happen last week. We saw it again this week. Saw Kit, give Oba some poetic rhythms that he had to possess in his little handy dandy book that he carries. And then obviously we saw Oba pretty much dominate him and beat him, within a minute. Matt, I'm going to ask you this question. Why are they doing this to Oba? Because here's the thing. I get it. Obviously, Kit Wilson's a very funny character, very, very entertaining to say the least, right? But I want to see Oba in some real beef, right? I really want to see him in something that's going to be meaningful. Why do you think they're putting him in this situation to where he's not really beefing with Kit, right? He's having some segments here and there, but I want to see him in something that's going to be worthy of watching. What's your take on this? On Obafemi?
Andre, I'm going to be honest with you, because I don't think they know what to do with him. I don't think they have the slightest idea how to handle Obafemi prior to WrestleMania. We know that he can't get beat up, and we know he's not in the title shot. We know he's not going to be in the chamber. We can't throw him in with Drew and Cody and Jacob and have that thing going. We're not going to mess with Punk and Roman with him. Okay, he just got called up from NXT after retiring the NXT championship in the middle of the ring. He is a force to reckon with, and he cannot be touched. But what do we do with him? I don't think they have any idea what to do with him prior to WrestleMania. And I'll give you some more facts on that. That's why he's kind of going back and forth. We're just showing him week after week on both shows, him taking out the War Raiders, him beating up Kit Wilson back-to-back weeks. He's staying relevant. He hasn't signed to Raw or SmackDown yet. Both Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce has offered him contracts. In fact, on Raw, Adam Pearce told him backstage, look at my offer. It's a little better than Nick Aldis. Trying to talk about money, right? So maybe, I'm going to throw this one out to you. You asked me about Oba. Maybe his music hits when Brock Lesnar's in the ring and he does the little Oba walk down to the ring and all that has to do, and then points at the WrestleMania sign or something like that. They don't even have to get physical, just something like that, and then point to the sign. That happened one other time, and that's when The Undertaker challenged Lesnar to WrestleMania, and Lesnar beat The Undertaker, beat the streak. The gong went off, Undertaker came down, the smoke was there, pointed to the sign, walked back up. And Lesnar was all freaked out in the middle of the ring, right? So maybe that's what they do with him. That would be cool for Raw this week here in Atlanta. But I don't know. To answer your question, I think he's just going to sit around. If they don't do something like that, he's just going to sit around until after WrestleMania.
Yeah, hopefully it's something soon. I mean, I think we see him at WrestleMania nonetheless, right? But hopefully it's something that's, like I said, kind of going back. where are they watching? I want to see something, put him in something where he's going to be challenged. He's a great storyteller. We saw his dominance up in NXT, him carrying that brand, him carrying that championship. Um, I want to see him in there fighting amongst the best. And so
And he could
hopefully
do it.
absolutely he can. Absolutely. So yeah, but like I said, I think you make a great point. They don't know what to do with him yet, so they're kind of just putting him here and there. But yeah, hopefully that ends soon. And now that we have Elimination Chamber coming up, let's put in something real, something serious. Moving on, let's talk about Rhea versus Julia. I believe this was a match that was scheduled for actually Io Sky versus Julia. We saw the match, but then later get interrupted and interfered by Nia Jackson, Lash Legend. Kind of saw this coming. I think we do see a tag match between the both of them at WrestleMania. That's what it looks like it's leading up to. Matt, I have a feeling that I love Rhea with all my heart, but I don't think she's going to be winning Elimination Chamber as much as I would like for her to. I think it's going to be a tag match with her and Io Sky versus Lash Legend and Nia Jax at WrestleMania. Do you disagree or agree?
100% agree. I 100% agree. I think something's going to happen. Begs to differ what happens, who wins the chamber, right, for the ladies. But I think you're right. I think we're going to see a tag match. It's a great opening segment for WrestleMania night 1, even night 2, to throw the 4 top ladies out there. You got the heel team versus the ultimate babyface in Rhea and Io. It's a great story. Those 4 ladies have all been, actually, except for Lash Legends, those 3 out of 4 have been in main events at WrestleMania. They're all been women champions before, 3 out of 4. So I think that's where it's going to go, which then tells us then who wins the women's chamber, right?
Yeah, this also kind of just popped in my head, but I think at WrestleMania, I think you could make a great argument to maybe even throw all the other women's tag teams in there and maybe have a ladder match.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, wow.
I would really like to see that, in my opinion. I mean, that could be maybe a night 2 opener, but I would love to see all the other women's tag teams involved in that. I mean, we saw a little glimpse of it a few weeks ago in that segment where they were all backstage and, wanted to get a shot at that title. We saw Lyra Bailey. Who else? We see Alexa, Charlotte, Nia Lash. I can't remember the other teams that were probably involved. I think there was another one involved there, but I do see something like that maybe occurring at WrestleMania, and I would love to see that. I think that's gonna be a great match. Let's throw some
That'd be
some ladder
cool.
matches in there. So
That'd be
yeah,
cool.
yeah, I think it'd be a really cool match to have. Moving on, let's talk about some of the qualifying matches that occurred last night. First up, we have Kiana James defeating Charlotte Flair and Nia Jax. Huge surprise. I didn't think this was actually gonna occur. Kiana James being the winner of that match. Matt, I know you're probably surprised by this, but she's added into the chamber. Chamber's shaping up here. What do you think of the result?
I'm shocked. And she pinned Charlotte Flair. That was the fact that Charlotte took the pin. I was shocked that Charlotte took the 1, 2, 3. But I think you're onto something, brother. I think you really are. Charlotte's not going to be in the chamber. I don't think Rhea's winning it. So I don't know who's going to win and go challenge for the WWE title or the women's championship because Liv hasn't made a decision yet, which so shockingly, she's supposed to make a decision here on Raw. She was going to make a decision last week on Raw with Michael Cole and then got interrupted by Stephanie, which was a great segment. But I don't know where they go with the women's division. I like the idea of the tag match. Maybe that's why Charlotte lost. Alexa's is in the chamber though. So I don't know. I'm just going to be a fan. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to enjoy the women's division all the way to Vegas.
Absolutely. And we're gonna let this play out because there's a lot of things that have to be settled and scored away, and then we're gonna have a little bit more clear picture of what the lead up is to WrestleMania with the women's division. Next up, we have Trick Williams advancing over to the chamber against Damian Priest and Carmelo Hayes. I really enjoy this match because Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams obviously used to tag together back in NXT. They've got a good history together. I like seeing them go at it, kind of going back at it. They actually worked together to take out Damian Priest, a little part of the of that match. So it's cool. That was really cool to see. But Trick Williams, he's on fire right now. Him showing up every Friday with his lemon pepper steppers, the way that he's able to just carry himself on the mic, the way that he's able to sell himself, I really enjoy. I know everybody else in that crowd enjoys. I'm actually excited to see him, and who knows if he goes on to WrestleMania, or sorry, if he wins to go on and wins the Chamber and then goes on to WrestleMania, that would be something to see. Wow. He is a main event star already, in my opinion. He's got the look, he's got the talk, he's got the walk, and definitely a world champion one day. But Matt, were your thoughts aligned with him winning as well?
I'm happy for him, but I'm going to have to push back a little bit. Okay. And that's what I love about pro wrestling. We all have our feelings on it. Trick Williams reminds me of Hollywood Rock back in 2002 when The Rock first left and went to Hollywood. He made the Scorpion King, the original one. He made Walking Tall. Then he came back and he was the villain Rock. Everybody hated him. He was Hollywood Rock. He was that character. That's what Trick Williams reminds me of right now. The way they get out of the car and they film his feet first. They film then he gets out. That's how they used to do with The Rock when he first came back as Hollywood Rock. He wasn't the people's champ. He was Hollywood Rock. And everybody was booing him. And him and then Stone Cold went off to have their final match at WrestleMania 19. So that's what it's reminding me of right now. Trick Williams will be a champion. Trick Williams is getting cheered. They sing his song no matter what. Whoop that trick. They sing it all the time. But he's not a good guy. He's not a baby face. And I don't think he's a heel yet either. I think he's that in-betweener. But he's trying to get heat. He wants to get heat with the crowd. Him and the segment with Sami Zayn was great. I mean, it pissed me off the way he was talking to Sami, but I know why he did it. So I'm happy he won it. I agree with you. I just don't think yet. If Trick Williams wins the Chamber next Saturday, that would be a big shock, a tremendous shock that he is going to wrestle in one of the main events at WrestleMania for a title shot. Could you picture him screwing over Cody and winning? There's your pivot. Yeah.
There you go.
Your pivot.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. Like I
just don't think the time is now. That's just
realistically, it's probably not going to happen. But here's the thing. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to see Cody be champion again. We've seen it already twice.
I don't either.
You have it be somebody else. I mean, shoot, I'm even for, obviously, I think Drew deserves it. I think Drew deserves a long title reign. The way he's just been terrorizing everybody that's been coming after him to possibly be the next champion. I like it. I like his ruthless aggression. And I like the fact that he's just going out and taking out everybody that may step close his way and try to take that title off of him. I like that. And it's something different. And to me, like I said, unless Cody goes heel, I don't care about Cody right now. Like I want Cody to kind of just stay at bay. I don't want you to be champion again anytime soon. I know we saw you finish your story. Great. Amazing. Love that. And then you lost to John Cena. Then you want it back again at SummerSlam. Let's see some other layers of that character peel back and see what you can do.
Well, they're dropping breadcrumbs. The segment with Sami Zayn and Cody was good too. Cody was a jerk to Sami. And Sami was pushing back too. And then Sami felt bad and he had to go apologize after Trick put him in his place. But I actually thought at the end of SmackDown, I thought maybe we were going to see Sami do a run-in. I thought Sami was going to be down there. This Elimination Chamber is going to, I really hope you're right. I hope it's a firework of a show, because what if Sami is the one that cost Cody the match? What if Sami is, because there's no rules in an Elimination Chamber match. And you could get into the chamber by just opening the door. So what if something like that happens? But like I said, with Cody Rhodes, I agree with you. I don't want to see Cody QB1 wrestling for the WWE title at WrestleMania. I just don't. I want to see Cody and Randy. I want to see a heel Cody. I want to see something like that. If I don't get that, then if I get Cody or here, let me say this. If we get Cody and Drew at WrestleMania, it's got to be bigger. It's got to be in the words of one of the greatest promoters, hell in a cell. It's got to be something like that, because just a wrestling match at WrestleMania won't work for me.
Nah, let's get some blood involved. Like I
Yep.
said, let's add some Tabascos, let's add some Cholula, spice things up a bit. Throw something different. Because if it's gonna be a title match, let's throw in some weapons. Let's throw in some spots that's gonna really make the crowd go, whoa.
I mean, would you be okay with the Hell in a Cell with
Absolutely.
Drew and Cody?
Absolutely. I would love to see that. I've never seen one in person, so this is my first time seeing it. So I would love to see that. Moving on. In relation to Cody, what's next for Jacob Fatu? We saw him walk out to Cody's promo. We saw Drew up in the press box, the suite actually, and do his little shtick, and then Jacob getting pissed off and trying to come after him, and then we saw him backstage with Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis is reminding him, "Hey, you still got the Chamber, you still got WrestleMania." So Matt, let me ask you this: what do we see next for Jacob Fatu? What's in line for him?
I think he gets a match with Drew, and I think Drew beats him. That's what I think. And I think they hype it up, and it could be on a SmackDown. That's what I think. Do I think Drew's going to defend the WWE title against Jacob at Elimination Chamber? No, you'd have one SmackDown to write the story. Though the story's been written for him, but you would have one SmackDown to tell us and then go straight into Chicago the next day. No, I think he gets to face him. And I think he gets screwed out of it somehow. And that's what I think happens. And then Jacob all of a sudden becomes yesterday's news with the Drew McIntyre storyline going into WrestleMania. That's what I think happens.
I agree. I think at some point, yes. Do we see him as a world champion one day? Yes, one day. Not now, but one day. But for me, I'm glad he's able to get that main event picture, main event spotlight, because he deserves it. He's a great wrestler. He's great on the mic. His promos are always worthy of watching. So I'm excited to see what's to come with Jacob Fatu. And he matches Drew's style. They're both ruthless. They don't care. They're gonna take anybody that stands in between them and that championship. So I love the fact that they're matching energy, and it would be a great match. And I can't wait to see what's next for Jacob Fatu. Last but not least, we had the main event: Aleister Black versus Randy Orton. Speaking of Drew, we saw Drew get interfered with that match behind the referee's back. Randy falls short to Aleister Black. 1, 2, 3. Matt, this seemed obviously a little bit random to me. It was like kind of like a random main event thrown together. Kind of expected something a little bit better. SmackDown has been a little here and there last few weeks. What are your thoughts about this match? And do we see Randy and Aleister Black go at it? Do you see a rivalry spark out of that?
I hope not. Not now. Not 6 weeks before WrestleMania. Absolutely not. And nothing taken against Aleister Black. I'm not taking anything away from that, from the character and the athlete of Aleister Black. So please don't think that. I actually am a fan of him. But no, this is a 14-time champion chasing 15. And Orton has qualified for the Chamber. So for the fact that he took the pin, even though Drew got involved, hit him in the head with the belt, and then Aleister Black nailed Black Mask and got the 3 count, he still took the pin. Orton took the pin. But no, this is a 14-time champion chasing 15. I've said it many times on our show, and I will continue to say it. I think Randy Orton is the only one that could get to 18 to induct John Cena. There's nobody else there that could do it. So whether or not that happens and he wins 15 at this year, he's going to have to. And he's getting up there in age. Orton, I looked this up. Randy Orton will be 46 years old on April 1st. He'll be 46. So it's got to happen soon. He's got to win 4 more. He's a 14-time champion, tied with Triple H. Cena's won 17. And like I said, whoever wins 18, I think inducts John Cena. That only makes sense to me. So that's what I want more from Orton. I'm a fan of Randy Orton. I always have been since the days of the Legend Killer, since Evolution days. So I want to see Orton. I want to see Cody. And real quick, to touch on your Jacob Fatu thing, something popped in my head. And because you talk about Drew McIntyre, brother, I think Drew's got footage of Cody taking out Jacob. So when you asked me that question earlier, what do I think of Jacob Fatu? I think Drew is holding that footage, and I think it's going to be played and goes, Well, that's okay. You think of your hero here? Take a look at this. And we have the footage of him taking out Jacob. And then Jacob's like, wait a minute, I'm going after the wrong guy.
Now that would be something kind of in relation to that. Obviously, last year we saw the kind of a little bit the same thing happen with Naomi,
Yep.
Jade Cargill, and Bianca. I think we see something similar with that.
And it happened at Elimination Chamber.
Exactly that. So that possibly could be in the works. Yeah, nonetheless, I think that match was a little bit random. I've got my own opinion about Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. That should have been something that Karrion Kross and Scarlett should have been. That's my thing. You know, it's kind of funny how life kind of works out the way. Listen, I think Karrion Kross should have been stayed in the company. I think it's the same thing with Scarlett. I think they're great performers, great on the mic, great in-ring. Like overall, I love their gimmick. And I really wish they would have gotten that spotlight the way that Zelina and Aleister Black have. Nonetheless, don't get me wrong. I think Zelina and Aleister are great additions to the gimmicks that they play. But let's give credit to the OGs who were in that spot, which is Karrion Kross and Scarlett. But nonetheless, let's talk about what's to come. Obviously, next Monday. Sorry, I should say this upcoming Monday, only a couple days away. First and foremost, like we mentioned before, Brock Lesnar returning, making an appearance. We'll see what's to come with that. In addition to that, we have AJ Styles, the little tribute that we have, that WWE has planned. From what I've heard, there's a lot of big names coming out and for that event. Maybe some possible TNA stars that AJ has fought in the past. That'll be really interesting to see. In addition to that, Liv Morgan will be announcing who she's going to pick for WrestleMania. And to top that off, we have another and final qualifying match. Jey Uso, Bronson Reed, and the original El Grande Americano for the Chamber. Matt, a lot of things to look forward to for Monday. This is the last Monday Night Raw until the Elimination Chamber. You got any final thoughts before we sign off here?
Two things. One, Raw needs to be on fire with the AJ tribute show. It has to get a spark. It has to be entertaining. Okay. AJ Styles is from Georgia. I think he's from Atlanta, that area. He will be there. Brock Lesnar is going to be there on Raw. So we need a spark there. And I would love to see some guest people show up. I want to be shocked. I want to be surprised. I've heard some names get thrown around, and I know you have heard some names too that could show and give tribute to AJ Styles. And who knows? Maybe this is where they pick up with Gunther. I said it 3 weeks ago after Royal Rumble. AJ didn't tap out. The referee called for the bell. So maybe something's there. I hope so. But this is the last Raw before Elimination Chamber. So I hope it's a spark. I hope it continues to build on the storyline with the Vision, with the Masked Man. And we'll see what happens.
We've got a lot of things that we're looking forward to. We're excited to be another week, another day closer to WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas. We're going to be there. We're excited for that. But yeah, we've got Elimination Chamber coming up next Saturday, and we're looking forward to seeing those results and seeing where this picks up at. And we're excited to just be a part of the ride. And so with that being said, Ringside Rewind Podcast with Matt and Andre. Thank you guys again for listening as always. We appreciate your guys' support and constant engagement you guys have with our channel. We're growing constantly every single time we post. So we thank you guys for that and taking the time out of your days to either watch us on YouTube or listen to us on the audio platforms that we have the podcast available. So again, just thank you.
I can't echo that enough. Thank you guys every week for your support. Remember, we're here for you. We love this. We do this because we love pro wrestling. So all the engagement we appreciate, and we thank you for your support on the Ringside Rewind.
Thank you guys again for listening. This has been episode 8. We will see you guys again next week for episode 9. Ringside Rewind Podcast with Matt and Andre signing off. Thank you guys again for listening.
Bye, guys.